Okay, here we are again for a second video on doing some basic statistics with the dataset in R and RStudio. In the previous video we talked about some descriptive statistics. We'll do a little bit more here. We talked about how to build some quick plots. We did histograms and box plots before. We'll do scatter plots this time and some more box plots. And in this one we're also going to pull subsets from data, which is something that's super handy to do. And there are actually lots of ways to do it. So what I'm going to show you in this video is one of maybe several ways to do the things that I'm going to talk about. So to get you reoriented, we have a data set of Tour de France data. Here, let me clean out the plots that we have there. So this is all the code from the previous video. We pulled out the total time column. We found the mean, the standard deviation, the variance, the quartiles, the median, the minimum, the max. Now, one command I do want to show you that might save you a little bit of time is the summary command. The summary command is designed to do several of these things at once. So if I just do the summary command, it does the whole 5-number summary. So that's minimum, quartile 1, median, quartile 3, and maximum, plus it does the mean. Notice it does not do the standard deviation. It's just not part of the built-in command. That's okay, because you could always just pair the summary command with a standard deviation command, and you get both of them on the screen at once. So these two commands together actually give you a really nice descriptive statistics stat plot. Snapshot. Snapshot is what I meant to say, of your data, if you're dealing with quantitative data. Okay, last video we built histograms. Remember, it populates your plot window when you do that. We built a box plot, which is all well and good. We didn't build a scatter plot. So what I'd like to do here is build a scatter plot for the rate versus the total time. Now notice I haven't pulled the rate data, and I'm actually not going to this time. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to do plot of, and I'm going to pull it directly from the data set itself. So I've got the Tour de France data, $ rate. I want that as my x's, comma, Tour de France data, $. The $ is allowing me to pull a column from my data, and then total time. And if I control enter on that guy and zoom that dude in, I get my nice little scatter plot. And then I can kind of see, well, there's some trend here. Maybe I've got some sort of downward slope, and maybe at some point I want to do a linear regression on this, or whatever it is. Really quick, easy, dirty plot. That's okay. Notice how it did the labels. It actually put exactly what I put here. So if you're not using sensible names for your variables, it's not going to give you sensible default labels. Of course it's not. We'll have better ways to do plots later. Okay, let's pull, I'm actually going to kill all that. Let's pull some subsets. So what I want to do is I want to find descriptive statistics for people that are only, say, from France. So I'm going to build a variable called France. France gets Tour de France, rate year. Now, I'm going to do something a little different here. If I do square brackets, I'm going to be calling rows, comma, columns. So the code I'm about to write won't run, but this would be my rows, this would be my columns. Now what I'm going to do is inside the first square bracket I'm going to say, alright, I'm going to say Tour de France, rate year, $, country, equals, quotes, France. And then I'm going to put a comma. So let's parse that whole thing here. So I said Tour de France, rate year. So that's the data set that I'm going to pull from. Open a square bracket because I'm about to pull from a given row or a given column. And the thing before the comma is the rows. So I want all of the rows that match this phrase, this Tour de France, country is equal to France. And then I left the columns blank, so that'll pull all of the columns. So let me get on this line of code, run it. Now it handed me a couple of warnings here, but that's okay. I come into here, I now have a data set named France. And notice every single country is France. Pretty slick. And now I can do things like, let's do a summary of all of the riders from France, and it gives me, it gave me lots of stuff. Maybe I just want summary of total time. Let's do just that. And it gives me the summary of the data from France. So if I want to do Italy, I'm going to do Tour de France data. Open square brackets because I want to pull from a particular column or row. In this case, I'm going to pull rows. Tour de France, $country equals Italy, comma, and then I'm leaving the columns blank because I want to pull all the columns. Run it. Now I have a data set called Italy. This is great. Okay, so let's do US, one more. Tour de France rate year. Tour de France, $country equals US. And now I've got, US has got 0 things in it. That seems like a problem. Maybe it wasn't US, maybe it was United States. So I'm going to look through here. I got a better way to do this. I'm going to come down in my command line and do Tour de France, country. And if I just have it spit this out, it's going to spit out all the countries for me. And let's see, where's United States? Oh, it's actually United States, not US. So copy, come back in. Okay, didn't want US there, I wanted United States. Run it. Okay, now I've got a couple observations for the US. So now let's just I'm going to do a box plot of France, Italy, and US together. Oh, and it doesn't want to, so let me do that. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a summary of Italy. All right, that gives me the summary of the whole data set. That's every single column. And some of this is total nonsense. I mean, yeah, the number of teams, that sort of thing. Yeah, forget it. I don't want that. What I wanted was $total time. So there's my Italy. Let's do summary of US $total time. And I can do some comparisons. So Italy versus the US, the mean for the US seems to be quite a bit smaller. That's kind of interesting. So last but not least, maybe let's make a box plot of, all right, if I make a box plot of US, not US, total time, let's also do France $total time. Let's do Italy $total time. I'm going to put all 3 of them next to each other, run that, and this gives me a nice way to actually compare. Now notice that the bottom 3, they just put 1, 2, and 3. They didn't actually put France, Italy, US. Again, we'll have better ways to do box plots and pictures later, but this actually gives me a pretty good sense of how I can subset out my data, look at summaries of my data, and a quick plot of my data.